Hey everybody, it's Bust with Bust Builds Decks number 8. Today we're doing battle with Balatro. And so, as we are on our 8th video, I made the click through all of the available decks. We've made one video on most of them. I think there's 10 decks. We've made 7 videos, 8 now, and I'm really wanting to get into this space to where we start going up in the stakes. And so we'll hopefully start to unlock these decks that are gated behind some of the stakes. You've got to beat the green, beat the black, beat the blue, beat the orange, and that gets you into those other decks. And so, with that in mind, we're going to be playing with the yellow deck today. We're going to kick it up to the red stake, see if we can't start pushing a few of these decks up to the higher levels to both get the higher difficulty content on board, and then also unlock those extra decks at the end of the challenges. So with the yellow deck, reasonable start. You get the extra 10 gold, a nice little bit of economy, and then the red stake says that the small blind rewards no money. And so if you do battle against the small blind, you get the interest money, you get any money that you would have left over from your remaining hands, but it just does not deliver any money for actually defeating the blind, so it makes it very skippable. And this is quite the interesting start here. We have the double tag. I've kind of figured out what double tag does, and so if we come up to the second ability here with the big blind, we would get 2 of them, right? And these apparently stack as well. So if you get a double tag and then another double tag, you would have 4. But if we skip this this big blind, then we would get the opportunity to have the next 2 jokers be holographic, which is fine. That's a pretty powerful start, assuming that we can get the 600 chips done on the boss round here. And so I think that's what we're going to shoot for. I typically worry in the early stages of the run if we're going to be skipping blinds for jokers to just not have enough money to actually purchase the jokers, but kicking things off with 14 gold and then picking up another 5 gold off of the boss, I feel like we'll have plenty of money to purchase 2 jokers. And so we're going to skip both blinds, and then we're going to see if we can't hit that 600 chips on the manacle. And so, yeah, apologies for the lack of videos. I'm usually much better about getting out 1 video a day, but I've been finishing the basement. It's a project I've been working on for the past, I don't know, 3 or 4 months, and I have some kind of deadline set for myself in terms of actually finishing the project, and I was getting a little bit behind. And so that hour and a half that I would spend making a video has been spent hanging drywall, and I'm hoping to be caught up on the project now and be kind of back in the space to where I can work on the videos, work on finishing the basement, and not have them conflict in orders of time. So been a bit of a struggle to kind of stay on course and on track with that, but hopefully it's along the way. And so nonetheless, as far as this battle goes, I like just shooting for flushes in the early game stages here. You run into this spot to where mathematically it's typically pretty close. Like I believe, you know, from back in the poker days, that typically if we're looking at say like 8, 9, 10 jack, that would be a wrapped straight to where we can either hit one of the 4 sevens or we can hit one of the 4 queens to make a straight. But if you're trying to hit flushes, you have 1 extra card, right? If you have 13 clubs within the deck, you have 4 of them in your hand. That leaves 9 cards remaining for you to be able to find. And so to that end, the flush scores higher and we should have a better opportunity to make a flush. And so I'm just going to keep discarding until we can hopefully find it. It typically lands is like a 300 chip hand, I believe. And so I'm hoping we have enough kind of left over after playing a flush to where we can kind of pop off with something a little bit bigger. Now, we have run into the issue, the downside of doing the flush chasing as to where we've actually missed. We could look to just spend a high card, right? We can play a high card 9 for like 14 chips and then use that as kind of a pseudo discard. And I think that that's kind of where we're stuck. If we want to play 2 pair, that's like 40. And then we're going to have another, what would this be, like 40 minus like 5 or so? So like 35, 70, that would only be like a 90 chip hand. Like that just doesn't sound like a winner to me. So let's come out. We'll just play this high card 9. Hopefully we'll hit the flush. And then with what remains after the flush, we can hopefully spike something out of those 2 remaining hands. Fuck me. Fine. Like, I don't think we can just spew out another high card. We'll take the 120 chips off of the straight. And then just start hoping and dreaming. Throw up the prayers to RN Jesus, if you will. and we'll see what we can do from here. So we got a pair of kings up top, not too much in the other space out here. That pair of kings get us a nice 20 chips. That is just not good enough. I kind of feel like we have to play high card king. Well, how many spades do we have left? 4? Look at that. There's 8 clubs left in the deck because we never do any fucking clubs. let's just see if we can't high roll it. I think we're kind of stuck here. We'll just play this this king high and see if we can't spike 3 clubs on the back end. Just been a mega low roll in terms of what the hand actually produced here. Look at that. We're 1 short. We did manage to hit that ace high straight though. I think that's enough to barely get there. What a shit show of an opening round. A 324, barely there. 13 chips over top. Oof. Okay. We've done enough cheek squeezing here in the early rounds. Let's just hope it's smooth sailing from here on out, right? Let's hit some good jokers and then just go good from there. So what do these turn up? We're going to probably purchase both of these, especially the egg. Like I haven't really found any good like money builder rounds, but this will pay for itself after 3 rounds, and so we can just eventually sell it. But what's this? Earn $1 at the end of the round, gain $2 when the boss blind is defeated. Okay, whatever. Big econ start, I guess. And then we maybe get to pick up the voucher. I would like to have it, the +1 discard, but I would rather hang on to the money for the economies now. We got to give a little bit of time for the egg and the rocket to get up and running. Speaking of eggs, we're getting pretty close to Easter, right? Easter's usually on like 420, and so this is a perfect time to start practicing making your deviled eggs, right? You don't want to show up to the Easter event and not have any deviled eggs on hand, or even worse, show up with bad deviled eggs. And so this gives you like a month and a half of practice. So you heard it here first. Get yourself ready for it. But what do we got here? And the small blind, +3 hand size, not real impressed with. Upgrading flush 3 levels is kind of a big deal for the big blind, though. I'm a little interested in that. Let's go ahead and battle with the small blind, see what turns up. And then I didn't even read what the boss did, and so we'll have to circle back to that. But with this, I kind of want to hang on to these spades. We'll play to this spade king high flush, see what turns up. I was kind of tempted to play the singular pair, but I think that's just the last hand leaving a bit of its essence on us, and that wouldn't be a correct thing to do. All right, there's the big hands coming through. Easy peasy with all those big multipliers. Good stuff. Did one of these turn holographic on their own? We had 2 of these holographic tag things. I think one of those just naturally did it. Okay, interesting stuff. Ride the Bus is a big build-around card, especially to be taking this early. So you get +1 multiplier for each consecutive hand played without a scoring face card. So kings, queens, and jacks, if you don't play them, you get to build up that multiplier. I don't think you lose it if you accidentally have to play one. And so it's very powerful, especially here only on Ante 2 and not having to... right, if we got this on like Ante 7, it's only going to be like +4 multiplier, but at Ante 2, we have a lot of opportunity to come in and build around with this. My downside with taking this, though, is it's not going to build up very easily, right? One of the complaints that I bring up about this game is you run into a lot of situations to where, you know, it's kind of game theory appropriate to just play a bunch of bullshit, and that's what we kind of run into with the bus. Is say that we generate a big flush in hand. We know that we're going to play the one hand and it's going to be enough to end the round, but if we want to grow the multiplier on this thing, it's like we got to play a high card and then play a high card and then play a high card and then play the flush, so we get the full 4 multiplier. And I just really don't like doing that kind of thing, and so kind of is what it is. I think that we're still just going to take it. I wish we had the money to pick up the sun here, but not quite flush with the cash. And all right, upgrade flush by 3 levels. I like it. It is a touch concerning without having like the big flush cards in it. Like we would really be wanting to design our deck to build towards ace high flushes, which is fine, I guess, but I typically like fighting for pairs with this thing instead of flushes. But flush level 4 sounds like a big deal at this stage. Let's take it and see what happens. Decrease the level of the poker hand played. Sure thing. All right, so we do get some pretty easy discards, right? Just sending away all of the face cards. We'll get to do that time and time again. We might as well just play towards the hearts, right? We've got 3 of them at this point. All right, face card, get out of here. What is this? Looks like a straight in this space. Did we get there? 5, 6, 7, 8, 1 off. What if we just hang on to the diamonds, but then the... Oh, we don't even have to... We got the 5, 6, 7, 8, and then we have the 3 diamonds as well. Okay. I mean, we should realistically just need 1 hand here. Oh. Thought we had enough. There it is. And so interesting times in the lands of Balatro as well. I had a lot I wanted to talk about today. That they've run into issues with the game being associated with gambling and then having that get the game taken off of the stores. I think as of today, this is the #1 game on the Switch marketplace, and they did just survive on Steam. Steam did a review of the game to determine if it was gambling or not. They said it's not gambling, and so it gets to stay. I think they had a problem. I think like Australia may have called it gambling, and another larger country also called it gambling, and they just come in and yank it off of the shelves like that. But it's such like kind of a wild space for me in terms of how this goes, because #1, you've had games that are poker centric, right? Poker deck style games. I'm going to take this foil tag as well. Like just say like Gin or Rummy or Bridge. They're just like dozens and dozens of poker deck based games that nobody looks at this and goes, oh, that's gambling. Like you can apply gambling to it, right? If you're playing Rummy, it's a point based game. You can have your scoring set up on the points or whatever, but it's not considered like one of those casino games. But you can go and make a Rummy app or whatever and release it and not run into any style or any kind of gambling issues. And so that was kind of an odd space to see that, you know, Balatro come out and get dinged for that. But it ties into some of the other stuff that like I see out there a lot. It's like I follow football quite a bit, and it is just completely inundated now with fucking DraftKings and daily sports betting and everything. And it's like quite obnoxious, like to where you can't like, watch a game of football without seeing the DraftKings 4-leg parlay just like plastered all over the screen everywhere. And at least in America, we've decided that guns are cool, violence is cool, gambling is okay, tits are bad. And like it's just like, okay, if you want to go and kill someone with a gun, fine, good deal. If you want to look at tits, no, you're not allowed to do that, but you can gamble if you want. If you want to go and get a job and throw away all of your money, 3% at a time at the casino, then more power to you. It's just fucking wild to me to see, let's just go out here and play this straight. The way that these things get kind of tied together and what's allowed and what's not. But the thing that I was really also kind of interested in is a large portion of my viewer base came from Legends of Runeterra. That was the game that we played before coming out here onto this kind of deck building adventure. And here, I'm just gonna make some kind of high card hand or a pair hand and get out of this run. But with Legends of Runeterra, it was recently just kind of canceled. Not like Me Too, but canceled like financially, in the sense that it wasn't making enough money. And it had like a very interesting history in the sense that it was a game that was released like March 2020, April 2020. Like it was definitely released right at the precipice of the pandemic lockdowns. And I think that, a lot of the problem that the game ran into was at that time, like late 2019, early 2020, there was a lot of decision making in Europe going on around gambling, mainly because of CSGO and the loot boxes that were attached to CS:GO, and they got, to the best of my knowledge, banned. They were banned in Europe, and so like some of the monetary things there changed. It may not have been CS:GO. I'm pretty certain that some of the European countries, if not all of the European Union, banned loot boxes in their games, and that kind of tied into another. Let's just take this blue Joker here. That tied into another kind of interesting space in that. Is a booster pack a loot box, right? So if you look at a pack of Magic the Gathering cards, if you look at a pack of Hearthstone cards, that is sort of a loot box, right? These things have monetary values attached to them. You pay $1 for it, you get something in return. There's a chance that that something is worth monetary value, or it has a high rarity, it's hard to get, and that's essentially just playing kind of a scratch-off ticket. And so where this was kind of circling back to with Legends of Runeterra, is it did come out during that time to where that loot box question was kind of up there in the air. And I'm curious how much of their decision making to not do a loot box styled system of purchasing packs was kind of tied into that, because that would have been just a death knell for the game right from the get-go if you released your game and then a month later you're like, LOL, the EU is banning this, right? And so it was kind of an interesting thing there. Like, I think they had lots of problems in terms of the release, given that I think they pushed the game out early, because you're like, oh boy, everybody's going to be sitting at home. This is a great time to release a video game. But Legends of Runeterra, to me, is the kind of game that you play on the bus. You play at lunch at work. It's not the kind of game you just sit around and play for 7 hours a day because you can't leave the house. And that was kind of a bummer for it. And then also they tied in all of the monetization to Expedition. And so you were supposed to pay $1, do your Expedition run. After your Expedition runs, you got a collection of cards. And then after that, you would just purchase wild cards to get whatever you wanted after that set of cards. And you would like rinse and repeat week after week. It was much more similar to the Marvel Snap style monetization, to where you don't necessarily have access to all of the cards in the game. And they nuked it right at the beginning. The game was out like 2 weeks and everybody was like, no, I want to buy all the cards. And they just completely scrapped it. And so I think it was those kind of like three things that really tied into Runeterra. And I'm curious how that all played out in the sense of, you would typically have a much better monetization plan in place, and it feels like a lot of it was just very rushed right from the get-go. But nonetheless, let's see what we can do here. I wanted to... I like taking these Arcana packs early and seeing what turns up, or Spectral packs, I'm sorry. And they're kind of okay. Medium with the Purple Seal somewhat works with these, right? We put a Purple Seal on a king. We're just discarding the kings every time anyways. We kind of get a lot of tarot cards that way. Or we could go for the Immolate, which we would like to destroy 3 of the 8 cards in hand, and then we're not even really upset if the 2, the 5, or the 6s get blown up. If we're going to play with this ride the bus in mind, we either want aces, 10s, and 9s, right? And we're going to build towards flushes, or we're going to build towards 2 pairs and full house kind of hands. And just blowing up a lot of these smaller cards could be fine. It does get us over the money limit as well. Let's just do it. Well, that was okay. I was hoping the ace got to stay, but otherwise we turned out fine there. But no, with seeing these things turn up, with the gambling thing turn up with Balatro really reminded me of the potential problems that LOR could have ran into, depending on how the chips fell, if you will, in terms of the gambling question. But here, we can build towards the 10s. We'll go ahead. We did have Did we have the thing in here? The hanger? The hanger, is that what it's called? To remove the 2 cards in your deck? You do not. But here, turning a queen into a 10 is fine. I would, again, rather stack in aces, but aces, 9s, 10s are the big things we're going to be looking for. All right, so what do we have here? Mega Standard Pack, not super interested in. Mega Celestial Pack, not super interested in. And then cards drawn face down after each hand played, we can probably work with just fine. So let's plan on battling all 3 rounds here. So let's just stick with this, right? I'm not certain how we should handle this in terms of trying to build towards flushes or build towards full houses. We have like the makings of either a pair of tens or with the 3 diamonds. We should probably just be building towards the flush here. The strategy we always talked about is you don't want to be out here half-assing stuff, right? We either want to be building towards a flush or we want to be building towards a full house. And the cards we discard in that sense are a little bit different, right? If we're building towards a full house, we probably just get rid of the ace since we lost one and keep the 10, 10, 8, 8. And then if we're going to build towards the flush, we want to discard this 8 that we're paired on and this 10 that we're paired on. I think that we just go towards the flush. And there it is. But ultimately, at the end of the day, with most of these things, they come down to making sure the right person gets paid. And it's wild with the sports betting out here in the Kansas City area. Sports betting is illegal in Missouri. It's a weird situation. Like, you can have casinos in Missouri on the river, right? And so they have riverboat casinos in Missouri to where you can do table games, but you can't sports bet. So you can't like bet on the Super Bowl. You can't do daily fantasy sports. You can't do fantasy leagues. Those all count towards the gambling. But if you drive across State Line Road and go over to Kansas, it's all bets are off. Kansas has table games. They have sports betting. They have it all. They have it physically on the ground. Like Kansas's, or at least Kansas City, Kansas's big casino is by like the NASCAR track. We have a NASCAR track out here as well. And you can do it all out there. But as with all things, there's supposed to be a lot of gambling revenue coming back to the state, which just isn't happening. And something about it's interesting. And so the sports betting is done on like a state by state basis, and Kansas had it set up to where, I don't know, they got their sports betting deal. You can do DraftKings in Kansas, but DraftKings has done that to where you get like a $300 or a $500 bonus when you sign up. And so you put $5 onto the site, they give you a $300 bonus. In this land of poker, you typically had to pay so much rake before you got that bonus back. So you were technically in the negative until you paid so much rake. I don't know how these people necessarily do it, but they count that as a loss. And so if you sign up for DraftKings in Kansas, you put your $100 on the site gives you a $300 bonus. You have to now go over top of that bonus for the for the DraftKings to declare profit on the money and then give money back to the state of Kansas. And so if that was all I did, right, if I put the $100 on the site, I collected the $300 bonus, I played through all $400 in total, they would call that a $400 loss, and that $400 would need to be cleared before they give revenue back to the state. And that's the kind of thing that has me like curious with Balatro, right? It's just the right people aren't getting paid. Some, politician got greased and that was working fine in terms of the DraftKings deal. They probably gave him a big stack of chips at the Hollywood and said, go have fun. But the people on the Steam marketplace and the Switch marketplace aren't getting those kickbacks out there. And so you see the poker cards, you got to pay the right guy. It's fucking absurd how that stuff works, but it's the way of the world, I guess. All right, we can let that topic go now. We're halfway through. We'll focus on the run from here on out. Let's see how it goes. And so, let's see. As far as jokers go, I would like to pick up one. We are getting in a pretty good place to just go ahead and sell the egg as well. But X4 multiplier of hand contains 4 of a kind. It's a nice thing to build towards. We're just not really hitting the stuff to do it. I mean, I guess now we are getting to this spot to where the telescope turns up. The telescope is actually going to be our big build around here. And we could think about 4 of a kind, but the telescope is going to kind of take away from that. So if you're not familiar with it, it's the voucher down here at the bottom. Celestial packs always contain the planet card for your most played hand. Our most played hand at this point is flush. And so if we want to build towards flushes, every time we find a planet card, we can get, or a celestial pack, we can ensure that flush is within it. Looks like straight's in here as well. But I think this is the kind of like big key indicator that we're going to be ready to build towards flushes. And just trying to get that over and over and over again. We're going to now start trying to enhance our deck to play with that in mind. So with that, the 4 of a kind thing I don't really want. The even Steven is fine. This is a very low risk one to be picking up, especially in the sense that we're not trying to play face cards. So 10, 8, 6, 4, 2 are a lot of cards that we'll probably be playing anyways. But let's kick off with this Arcana pack first. We might get a random Joker out of it or something. I would prefer to be just like converting stuff to spades. We're going to have to pick a suit at some point. It might just be spades right now. It is the one that we currently have the most of. Okay. So don't want to upgrade the jack. We're just never going to play it. So 7, 7, 3. Okay. The magic is coming together. So at this point, like, I feel pretty good with things like Blue Joker giving us chips. We still have a lot that we can just sell in terms of economy cards and trying to finish off this run. The thing that I'd really be looking for here now is just an X multiplier kind of card. Let's see. Got the makings of a diamond flush. We just got there. Give me all them multipliers. There it goes. But yeah, that was a good indicator of, you know, some of the problem with Ride the Bus here. It was only at the +6. If it didn't have the holographic attached to it, it wouldn't even really be kind of worth it. And like, I'm not gonna sit here and just play high card, high card, high card, and then the big flush. Like, maybe if we're doing a gold run on the max difficulty, we'll start trying to pull off bullshit like that. But as far as it goes right now, it's just no fun for me. All right, so the Celestial Pack's turning up. Gonna take us up to flush level 5. We're getting there. We're getting there. And also, speaking to the lands of Legends of Runeterra, I felt so bad. And so one of the you know, there's been a couple of like grassroots organizations that were taking over in terms of having competitive events, and so Mastering Runeterra would be the big face, and they had actually oh shit, that's a king. They had actually, you know, quit doing their grassroots style of events. Let's actually play the king and just see what happens. Like, I don't think this Ride the Bus resets to 0. I just think that we don't get the extra bonus. Let's play this stupid strategy and we'll get there eventually. But no, Mastering Runeterra did it. They always had like monthly 1K guaranteed tournaments, and then they, I guess, weren't getting enough attendance, so they're like, well, let's try a 2K and see if more people turn up. More people did not turn up, and so they eventually just said, well, we're going to quit doing these for a bit until we can decide on, you know, a better way to go about it. And then they just never brought anything back. Oh, fuck, it does reset? Shit. Well, at least we weren't super invested in Ride the Bus. So there were a couple of other leagues and some smaller events that were out and about, but that was kind of the big one. But the guy that managed all of those events was Gregory the Gray, and I saw that like over the past week or so, he was going to try and keep some of those competitive events going, and so he like created the event and advertised it and everything, and they had 9 people show up. An entire 9 people, and so that, like, I certainly didn't play. I guess I was like, that's just kind of the state of it, you know. It's unfortunate that that's what it is, but if, you know, the kind of premier level in a excitement that can be generated around an event is 9, then it's just done. It's just done at this point. Like, being completely removed from the game in terms of tournaments, and then like the grassroots stuff just getting completely aced like that. I hate to see it, but it just kind of is what it is. I don't think it's I don't think it's going to recover. Nonetheless, let's see what we can do here. I guess we can play the Sigil, right? We're not super invested in any of the suits. Like, we do have 16 spades to 8 hearts, but I think that this is a reasonable place to go about it. Convert all hands to a single random suit. Maybe we'll just magically hit spades because we're that good at the game. Nope, hit clubs. It's probably still fine. Let's see how things shaked out after that. We have 19 clubs, 14 spades, really down on hearts and diamonds, and so I guess it wasn't a complete wash there. Can buy this gold card. Not gonna go towards the half hands. The hanged man turns up, but we don't have any face cards to be taking out of our deck. It's not crazy to actually want to take the 4 and the 2 out, but what else is here? Get Joker money is fine. Bonus cards, not terrible. Not opposed to convert left to right. And right, it is safe to say that, like, I don't care about Ride the Bus anymore, so we can still look to play towards face cards and stuff. But I would prefer to be turning a red into a black and then just try to play black flushes from this point forward. All right, let's just cut these 2 small cards out. No, I'm not opposed to going back to Runeterra at some time. It's just I can't bring myself to get really excited about the Path of Champions in the sense that you can't make it more difficult, right? We can make Balatro more difficult by pushing up through the levels. Like, I'm not X multiplier. I'm not certain what things will look like in terms of how difficult it is getting up to the top rank and how difficult the top rank itself is. But it should be fairly challenging and as we kind of like progress through the game, it's like I don't know, an upside down U. that's what the graph looks like in terms of challenge, right? The game is challenging at the beginning because you don't know what you're doing, and also because you haven't unlocked all of the jokers and everything, right? So if you have like I don't know what the percentages are, but if you have a 3% chance to unlock a mega joker, but you haven't unlocked any of them, you just never hit. But once we've unlocked all the jokers, that 3% becomes active. Excuse me, and then we just get stronger as the runs go. And so you have that kind of arch of difficulty as to where it's hard at the beginning because you don't know what you're doing and you haven't unlocked anything. You start to unlock everything and it gets a little bit easier, but then you start to kind of raise the stakes and it gets more challenging as you put those additional restrictions on yourself. But with Path of Champions, it just gets easier the entire way, right? You already start off with the deck. You just unlock more and more and more and more stuff, but the game never gets any more difficult. And so it just turns into a lot of face rolling over and over and over again. And it's a bit unfortunate to me with that happening that way. But I'm curious if there's never the space to where they do make like a true Slay the Spire style roguelike kind of mode, which I would be very, very interested in. Just a matter of will they do it. It's like that's kind of there in the monthly challenges, but the monthly challenges are not a deck builder. Like, that is the biggest downside to the monthly challenges to me. Is like you pick your champion, you jump in, and you fight through like 5 nodes, right? You go through like pick a champion and then maybe one fight and then maybe a mini boss, then maybe one fight, and then it's just done. It's just like there's no deck building opportunity within, and it's just kind of a bummer for that mode to me. But here, do we want to take this all cards are considered face cards? It makes our flushes a lot more powerful. It's kind of like finding a chip kind of card in the sense that you play a 2, it now counts as a 10. It's probably not quite worth the space. We'll just keep collecting that egg money. Give me them sweet, sweet egg dollars. It's a Celestial Pack. These things have been turning up. We're definitely just going to keep leveling up flush here. Get up to flush level 30 before it's all said and done. Alright, what's the last one? No repeat hand types. Awesome. Awesome way to take our flush deck up into. But, I mean, that's a pretty big start. We have the makings of a straight flush in hand, and so let's see if we can't just build to that real quick. Let's take one more discard to it. I'll discard the smaller end down here. Hang on to this 10 just in case. That's not going to be worth it. Let's be real. What do we hit? We're down here. That's a 7 of clubs. Trying to decide if we're willing to throw away one more discard. I mean, we're looking for like 2 specific cards at this point. I mean, what do we have? We have 2 ace of clubs and the 10s. We wrap. Oh, we have, hang on, king, queen, jack, 10. So either the 9 or the... We've got 1 9, 2 aces, so we have 3 draws at it. It doesn't seem worth it. It's probably just good enough with the with the flush on its own. Not worth worrying about. I haven't been tracking our hand too much in terms of how many chips we've been pulling in. Close enough, I guess. Let's do this. Let's just run out high card, and then we'll see if we turn up a one of these pairs on board. If we don't, we can just end up playing 2 pair, which is probably good enough anyways. And then I did fix our multiplier. Our multiplier was in the wrong spot. We were collecting flat multiplier before the X multiplier. Not how you want to do it. Let's go ahead and play this gold card as well. We're gonna win the round on this. Kings and 9s. Throw in the unpaired 6 just to cycle. That should easily be 3K. Got there. So many monies out of these economy cards. I'm ready to get rid of one of them. Probably rather just hang on to the rocket, right? 9 gold at the end of each round. You could just get 20-some gold across the round if you really wanted to, but not quite where we're at. So we'll definitely pick up the voucher. +1 discard is quite good in this space. We have tons of money and nothing to spend it on, so we'll drop that one. Arcana pack comes in. Anything cool? Bonus cards is fine. Steel cards fine. Convert to spades. Only have 2 red cards in hand. I guess it's not terrible. Clubs were our big one, right? Spades were our kind of secondary flush maker. I mean, I guess you don't have to tag all of them. Would we rather have 9, 10 in our deck or just take them out, right? Because we have the hanged man to destroy them, or we have the world to switch them into spades. Like, the one that we really want are the steel cards, right? Getting those X multipliers. But these cards all kind of suck. Maybe we would prefer to just steel card the 10. Right, that just strikes me as what our deck is lacking, is not having the X multiplier. What do we got here? A blue seal wild ace. Okay. And what do we have up here? Guess we didn't skip any booster packs, but red card we're never going to level up in time. Let's take these rerolls. They appear to be free. Uncommon jokers each give 1.5x mult. Do we have any? Rocket, I don't really care about. We only have 1. That's kind of a bummer. Take the lucky card thing. Let's take another roll. What do we got? Economy cards don't need. All flushes and straights could be made with 4 cards. That is a fairly big deal. All right, let's take that one. Get so much money still. It's wild how much money we have in here. What is this? +12 multiplier if hand contains a straight. All right, let's get rid of even Steven. Pick that one up. Now I think we're good to go. I don't like calling my shot. I haven't really found the space within this game to call the shot at the right time, but it feels like we have all the tools we need to come in and finish this thing off. So here, upgrade 2 pair, I don't care about. Mega Buffoon pack, also don't really care about. Diamond cards debuffed at the end is not a big deal either. I mean, I would say realistically we could just start skipping blinds at this point to come in and finish off the run. but let's give it a little bit more of a go. Let's go ahead and drop the lucky. Like, it's not a round where we need to hit, but what I've tend to kind of find in these situations to where we just have infinite money is that you get into the shop round and need to spend the money on something, so you try to spend it on tarot cards, and just clearing out that space lets us come in and purchase more and more of them. All right, so we can play the 4-card flush here. I didn't pay enough attention to see if we could have straight flushed on that previous hand. We don't really want to, right? Our straight flushes give 100 by 8, and then our regular flushes give 125 by 16. So we're not super interested in hitting a straight flush at this point. Alright, so what is it? Hallucination, not super interested in. Again, like, we would get, I guess we get some activation out of it. I mean, we don't even really need the 4 fingers. That cheapens up the flushes. Not super interested in Chaos the Clown either, but it does give us that multiplier. Yeah, we'll just grumble about it and move on. All right, what do we got? The premier choice and Wheel of Fortune. Let's see what else is turned up here. Not too worried about money. Getting lucky cards or reusing the Fool is not that great here. Random tarot cards is whatever. Convert left card to right card isn't that bad. If we want to say turn our red 10 into the lucky Ace of Clubs. Sure. Why not? Anything cool? Bonus, that's the kind of stuff we need right there, huh? The big X multiplier for each skipped blind. Like, I'm probably not even really opposed to just skipping all the blinds the rest of the run. So let's definitely pick up this spades. Like, this is what I was talking about in the previous space of just wanting to burn the lucky card to get this extra room up top. Because we're probably going to just keep rolling until we completely fill out our tarot cards. And so that's fine. I think we do want throwback. Maybe we do just get rid of the 4 fingers. I think our deck is probably good enough without it. And I do have that slight worry that we're going to hit straight flushes and actually just get the big negative in terms of the quality of our hand, right? And so I guess it's not like the craziest thing to play around, but it is a little worrisome. All right, we aren't built to face cards, don't care about economy cards, care about face cards. Really just looking for a tarot card. We can't even get him up here. Can we? I don't know. Like, I feel like we don't have the relic or whatever it's called that makes them turn up. So here, not super interested in any of these. Smeared Joker could be good, right? Spades and clubs count as the same suit. That does also give me those, like, touch of worries that we're just going to accidentally hit straight flushes. I just don't think we need it. We're so low on the red cards at this point anyways. I don't think we'll really struggle to make a flush. Okay, we can skip these. All right, diamond cards are debuffed. I have never cared less in my life. Let's just go ahead and run it out. We could spend some discards or something here, but let's just go ahead and, like, play the hand. Well, maybe it probably is enough to hit 40k at this point now that we have the throwback. But I was going to say, let's just go ahead and play it, so if we have more red cards turn up, then we can go ahead and convert to spades. 63k on that medium quality flush. Alright, good stuff. Who do we got here? Rerolls cost less, whatever. Just you got something I could spend money on? Okay, let's do it. We'll buy that. We get a standard pack. These cards are red. Skip over all that. Next standard pack. It's a spade. The discard for tarot cards. Oh, it's a bonus card as well. Fine. It's not a great spade, but the bonus card on it makes it stronger than an ace. So why not? All right, 80 chips if you contain a flush. I don't think we just need that kind of thing. That is where we're lacking, but we do get a lot of bonus chips from the blue joker and the crazy joker. Something about discards. Tarot cards, we've only used 8. That's not enough. Something with face cards. And okay. All right, whatever. Skip it. All spade cards are debuffed. That's kind of scary. That's kind of scary. I give it that. All right, well, we'll dig a little bit more with this one. I want to be able to play the club flush without using the steal. We should be good now. You gotta be handy with the steal and earn your keep. That's a Wu-Tang Clan line, but I feel like there's like some kind of meme. Oh, is it like living life by the blade or something? I can't remember. It's some kind of sword reference with some nerdy looking kid in the picture. I can't remember what that actually came from or how that came about. Gotta be handy with the steal and earn your keep. God, Wu-Tang Clan is so good. It's been like a wild ride in terms of weather out here in Kansas City. Like we had a day last week to where it was like 78 degrees on one day, and then the next morning it like literally feels like 0 degrees outside. So it was almost a 80-degree temperature swing, and then it just like jumped right back up in temperature. And so like I just went out for a drive this weekend and actually just turned on the old Wu-Tang Clan. So highly recommended. I'm not certain whatever happened with the Wu-Tang Clan hasn't had a ton of visibility since the late 90s and early 2000s. But the thing that they eventually did was they made that record out of gold and only printed one copy of it and then put it up for sale. And then Martin Shkreli was the one that bought it, the pharma guy that's I'm pretty certain still in prison, and that was what happened to the Wu-Tang record was Shkreli bought it, and so interesting how things play out. But all right, what do we got here? We're still cruising through. Oh, it was an Arcana pack. I thought it was. I thought it was Arcane. But let's turn those red cards into spades. That's fine. Otherwise, there is a steel card in here. That's the one I believe I'm interested in. Creating jokers and stuff, none of that really matters to me. So let's put it on like a middling club. We'll put it on this jack here. It's like I wouldn't mind just cutting the smaller clubs out of our deck, so I don't want to get rid of them completely. But if we kind of like sit on this, or if we have to play this, then it feels good. So what else we got? Multiplier cards? Sure. I should have checked what the boss blind was before we just started throwing stuff away, but I don't feel like it super matters. Convert to diamonds, bonus cards is good. Convert to spades, we can get these red cards out of here. Okay, let's do that. We should get a second one here. This was a nice little double tag. All right, there's the spectral pack. That's what I thought we were about to get ourselves into. So what do you got? Destroy a random card in your hand, add enhanced faced cards. I don't really care about that. Add gold seal to something, sure. Coming up on the boss battle where gold doesn't matter, so why not add it in? And so what's this? All cards are debuffed until one joker is sold. That's fine. We can just sell the rocket. It doesn't give us any combat effectiveness as it is. Now let's just figure out how to get the big hands out here. What do we got? We probably just want to build towards clubs. Discard some of these smaller ones. It gets us reasonably close, I guess. I don't think this is a 100k hand, but I also think we'll have literally no problems finishing this run off. 46k, almost there. Didn't even really try in terms of maximizing what we could build towards in terms of discards. So this one is probably short if the last one was short, but again, like with 2 hands left and 3 discards, we'll easily find another flush to finish it off. And hey, there it is. GG. Well played. Victory for us. That is going to do it. And so not a bad run. I feel like, we mentioned half-assing it at one point in there. And I think that we kind of got away from that. That was in terms of a singular hand, but I was really struggling to determine if we were going to go towards flushes or if we were going to go towards like 3 of a kinds. And when we did hit the talisman to hit the planet card thing, and we'd already played towards some flushes, I think that really just kind of easily solidified it in terms of what we're going to try to do, because it does kind of suck from that point to try and pivot and then build up to another hand, and then at that point having the additional hand to start hitting planets from there. And so, flush is already in a good space, and then hitting with the flush planets gave us a pretty easy course of action to follow. I think we did get into some pretty interesting spaces in there as well with the don't play face cards thing. Like, it's just one of the bummers of this game, to where the optimal strategy is, again, to just dick around and not do anything and kind of just drain your time and click. But I don't like to do that. And that left us in a spot to where, that card wasn't very good. And so, like, it would definitely been a different story if that card was like printing +30, +40 multiplier on its own, because we sacrificed like 15 gold to get it really good. But it's just not something I like to do. If that's your thing, then, more power to you. But nonetheless, good game. I had fun with that. I hope you did too, because that is going to do it for us today. So if everyone enjoyed the video, hopefully you learned a thing or two along the way and had a good time watching. This is Busted Me. Thank you for being here.